Some drift too far to the left, others too far to the right. Well, Jörg Meuthen sees a political gap between the CDU and the AfD. Yeah, me too, a big one. The ex-AfD chairman is already conducting talks to fill them. After leaving the party, former AfD chairman Jörg Meuthen is considering founding a new party. He is currently having many conversations with interesting people who can fill the gap between a CDU that has slipped to the left, which is bullshit, and an AfD that has slipped to the right, Meuthen told the magazine Cicero, according to a pre-announcement on Monday. He is concerned with a middle-class conservative liberal party. The AfD could have been such a party but left this course. He says, not me. It never could have been that. He has not yet made a definite decision to found a new party, said Meuthen, but he definitely plans to remain politically active, he said. I feel too young and too agile to retire from politics. The former party leaders Bernd Lucke and Frauke Petry also founded new parties after they left the AfD. Petry, the party Die Blauen, the Blues, Lucke, the Liberal Conservative Reformers. Both startups failed due to lack of support among voters. Can the Robert Koch Institute decide on a convalescent status? According to the COVID-19 regulation, yes. The scientific service of the Bundestag is said to have its doubts. The shortening of the convalescent status from 6 months to 3 caused a stir, also because it was not politicians but the Robert Koch Institute who decided this. Since January 14th, the decision on the convalescent status has been within the competence of the institute. According to media reports, the scientific service has serious doubts as to whether this new regulation satisfies constitutional standards. The federal government no longer decides on essential aspects of the regulation on proof of recovery itself, but leaves this to the RKI, according to the report by the scientific service, which is available to media. But there is no reason for that. It is not apparent that a change in scientific knowledge in relation to the recovered status could create such a timely pressure to regulate. And the CDU health expert Erwin Rüddel told media that Parliament must quickly regain its decision-making power. Politically, the transfer to the RKI as well as the reduction of the recovered status was a serious mistake, both of which must be corrected, said Rüddel. Now it's official. Friedrich Merz is the new chairman of the CDU. The 66-year-old economic politician was also able to convince the postal voters and got a better result than at the party conference. Friedrich Merz is now officially the new CDU chairman. According to CDU information, the 66-year-old economic politician received 95.33% of the votes in the postal vote on Monday. This written vote was necessary for legal reasons after the online party conference on January 22nd. There, Merz had come to 94.62%, according to the CDU calculation. The 1,001 delegates at the online party congress were entitled to vote in the postal votes. As a consequence of the historically worst union result of 24.1% in the federal election last September, the CDU had re-elected its entire leadership. In December, in the first member survey of the CDU for the party chairmanship, Merz was chosen with 62.1% as the successor to Armin Laschet, who had failed as a candidate for chancellor. According to a media report, Gerhard Schroeder and his wife are infected with the coronavirus. The former chancellor is said to have slight symptoms, but So-yeon Schroeder-Kim, there it looks different. Former Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder was found to be infected with the coronavirus. This is reported by the German news magazine Spiegel. His wife, So-yeon Schroeder-Kim, also tested positive. Accordingly, Schroeder-Kim had herself tested because her husband complained of a slight cough. A quick test didn't work at first. She told the media, "Nevertheless, to be on the safe side, I did the PCR test, and this was then positive." So far, the former chancellor's wife has had no symptoms. Both have been vaccinated 3 times against the coronavirus, and both are doing well under the circumstances. As has been the case for weeks, many people took to the streets again on Monday against the corona measures. Things were not peaceful everywhere. Participants clashed with the police and also counter-demonstrators. Tens of thousands of people across Germany demonstrated again against the current corona measures. There were also counter-demonstrations in some cities on Monday evening. Most of the gatherings were peaceful. Police said that at least on Tuesday morning. But it wasn't peaceful everywhere. A 26-year-old suffered serious head injuries in Regensburg, according to the police. Paramedics then took him to a hospital. In addition, two groups clashed on the sidelines of a meeting and several people were injured. Further details were initially unclear, so I can't tell you more. A 23-year-old reportedly injured a police officer with kicks and punches. Around 1,300 people protested against the corona restrictions in Lübeck on Monday evening. Overall, the meeting was peaceful, but shortly after the end, there was an argument between participants on the way home and another group. The officials had recorded the personal details of 12 involved. It is being investigated on suspicion of dangerous bodily harm. The exact background to the argument was still unclear. About 9,000 people came to meetings and protests in Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania, the police said. In Rostock, the regulatory authority had banned several protests, but groups still moved through the city center. According to the information, firecrackers were thrown. The officials had to intervene several times. Several people were taken into custody. According to the police, officials in Grimmen were thrown at and insulted with eggs from an apartment. Around 25,000 people demonstrated against the measures in Thuringia. 25 people were reported, among other things, for violations of the assembly law and resistance to law enforcement officers. In Jena, an opponent of the measures was also injured by a counter-demonstrator, according to the police. On Monday evening, around 200 people gathered in Ostfildern for a registered meeting to demonstrate against corona measures. According to the police, the demonstration was peaceful. Before that, however, an announcement by the mayor of Ostfildern had triggered a wave of protests on social media. In certain chat groups, it was even said that there were orders to shoot at the demonstrators. Mayor Christoph Boley from the Social Democrats and the Reutling police vehemently contradicted this presentation on Monday. The use of firearms to enforce a ban on assembly is excluded, said a joint statement. A fake photo of Markus Söder is currently making headlines on Twitter. The CSU leader there holds a poster with a call for corona walks in his hands. His party reacted angrily. So this fake photo of Markus Söder with a call to participate in protests against the corona policy is currently circulating on Twitter. The picture shows the CSU leader holding a poster into the camera that reads, "Going for a walk helps. Also everyone you love. Mondays in your city." The logo of the federal government is also shown at the bottom of the montage. In reality, the photo from last week showed Söder holding the image of a 9-armed Hanukkah candlestick on the occasion of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, thus commemorating the victims of National Socialism. Söder himself did not initially comment on this, but CSU General Secretary Markus Blume immediately attacked the forgery. Disgusting and brazen. This picture is a fake from a photo commemorating the Holocaust. Of all people, whoever put such a fake into the world should be ashamed. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.